Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Juliette, and today I'm going to be channeling a message from your angels, ancestors, and guides to see whatever they have for you. I'm trying to keep the readings more lighthearted because I feel like it's springtime, so the energy is just a little bit more lighthearted in general. So let's see what we get. Spirit guides, a message for the collective. Two more, Spirit. One more. Take this one. Okay, so the back of the deck is the Princess of Cups. And her energy is a little bit more lighthearted in general. It is a feeling that like anything is possible for you. At this moment, everything seems within reach. And that's a really beautiful thing. That's the energy I'm getting from this Princess of Cups. She's saying that there's just so much that you're capable of, collective. And that if there is a dream that you want to go after, you should do it. You should really do it. Not because, not out of fear, not out of feeling like you're going to lose out on an opportunity. Do it because it feels good to you. Do it because it expands your view of the world. Do it because it makes you curious about life again, that there's something worth diving into, worth investigating. It's your time to do that, because with the star right behind it, it tells me that this is an energy of new beginnings. This is an energy of following the dreams, not only following, but creating the dreams that you want. Maybe you guys haven't been able to really have the courage to think of a different type of future for yourself. Have the courage to consider other options, right? Maybe your mind has been going around in circles because you had only considered one of your options, and maybe that wasn't one that was meant to go that far. Now you're being presented with opportunities that will go the distance with you. You will not be alone. You will not have to do this by yourself. You will not have to be strong by yourself. You're going to have someone to support you. And that may be new for you guys. But Spirit does see that, you do need that. They're saying to invite Spirit to help you. Invite Spirit in to commune with you. Invite Spirit in to have conversations with you, to help you come up with a better dream, to help you align with your true dream if you already know what it is, right? This is about stepping out of that comfort zone. Stepping out of the comfort zone, not fighting ourselves anymore over what had happened, what had occurred, what didn't go right for you. We're letting all that go, and we're going to be embodying full receptive energy, full embodiment of abundance in every single form with the Empress. She is the full embodiment of abundance in every form. She has the mental, so swords. She has the fire, so the wands. She has the emotional control, so the cups, and then she also has just extreme wealth, so with the pentacles, everything. She embodies everything. And that's why it's abundance, because it's just everything. It's not just one tiny little subject of life. It is like a full encompassed version of life in one form. So that's why the Empress is extremely powerful. And that's exactly the energy that you're coming into now. As spring occurs, as the flowers bloom, so do you. And so in this time, Spirit's saying, hey, it's okay if you don't have everything figured out. No one does. Let's be real. And it's important to just go with the flow. Temperance in reverse is telling me that, there may not be like a flow in your life right now. Maybe you're trying to direct it at a certain person in a certain direction. It doesn't even have to be a person, but it could be like a job. So maybe you're really pouring your energy into a job that isn't really giving back to you anymore, pouring your energy into a person that just isn't giving you what you need anymore. And they're saying that to fix that flow issue, just let it kind of go wherever it wants to. Maybe you're really keen on always keeping everything afloat, making sure everyone feels great or fine. And there's I'm getting a little bit of I feel high, but I'm not. It just happened in this reading. And so there's an energy of just go with the flow. Stop fighting things. Stop trying to create things out of nothing. That's not even what you're doing, but Spirit's just saying don't try to create narratives in a situation that just doesn't exist. Stop trying to direct your energy in a way, because at this time you haven't even been presented with opportunities that will go the extra mile. Okay? These opportunities that you have been faced with lately have been out of either your own diligence, your own just your own exertion of energy wherever you put it, and maybe you've gotten some back, and that has been really powerful for you. But now it's time for you to tap into another type of power, which is the power of divinity, which is the power of help from the universe. Because that's the thing about going on a spiritual path. It's really hard to just rely on your ego, rely on your human body to really lead the way. Because when you agree to expansion, there are just some things that you will not know. There will be some things where you need to be led into that space. There will be things that require alignment to occur for things to work out. And sometimes willpower just isn't enough. Okay? And humans that have full ego get so triggered when they think no, I am in control of my destiny. I am the weaver of my destiny. It's well, yes, that's true. But you also require assistance from the divine. You need divinity. You need divine help to get to where you need to be. Because as humans, we're not fully aware of the energy work that is occurring around us all the time. Okay, with the Ten of Swords in reverse, this is Spirit working in your favor. Okay, people have really tried to stomp on your dreams. People have tried to stomp on your comfortability. Okay, they just don't want you comfortable. Why? Because they're uncomfortable and they don't think you deserve to be comfortable when they're uncomfortable. Okay, it's just that simple. It's a human mind. It works in really simple ways. A lot of people try to make it come off as a malicious intent that they have it out for me. But no, sometimes it's just as simple as I don't want you to have that because I don't have that. And that energy persists in almost everybody. Okay? And everybody needs to outgrow that kind of energy. Being for real, yeah, that ish needs to go. And so spirit, and the way that they help you is by clearing out any blockages, any negative energy that may fly your way from people that just don't really take a second to think about their own mental state and how that can affect other people. Some people just don't care about that. People don't have the time to care about that. And I'm going to burst that bubble right now, because maybe you're in this headspace where like, no, everyone's great, everyone's kind, everyone's nice, so I can just use my willpower and it'll go my way, because it always has. But what Spirit's saying is like, it has gone your way because we've helped you. It's gone your way because we've aligned you with the opportunities for those things to happen. Yes, there's willpower on your end. Yes, there's action on your end, but the alignment is never a coincidence. If you ever thought something was a coincidence or like a lucky break in your life, it was not a lucky break. It wasn't a coincidence. It was spirit. It was divine help. And I think your spirit guides really want the acknowledgement, not because they need it to boost their ego, but for you to recognize that there is a relationship between you and spirit. There is a very deep relationship between you and them, regardless if you're willing to accept it or not. Regardless if your conscious brain will allow you to say that or not, it is still there. And that's just what I'm channeling. So don't come for me, but Spirit's really wanting you to see that a lot of things in your life that have gone your way is because you've had divine help. And maybe right now you're kind of more in a skeptical state or a more closed off state to Spirit. And Spirit is saying, if you close off to us, we can't help you as much as we would like to. And it's not a threat, but it's simply a relationship. There's always two parts. There's two members of a relationship, right? You and the other person. It's you and Spirit. You need to cultivate that connection. It needs to be like made aware to you. Okay, Spirit's really like, please just like let them know that I am here, that they have a team working with them, beside them. And if they can't even recognize that there's a team working for them, then a lot of the help that could come your way just won't, because you're not asking for it, right? The point of acknowledging that there is a team working with you is to ask them for help. Ask them for help if you're feeling lack of clarity. Okay, sometimes people can see that as like harmful intent from others to confuse you. And even if that's not the case, if you don't believe in negative workings like that, then honestly, you probably should be more aware that there are other energy workers that are not working in light. They don't want to. And that's fair. That's their free will. And so, but it's on you to make sure that you have your energy clear, that you have your energy protected, that you know who's working with you, rather than allowing any spirit to come your way and persuade you that they are working with you. When if you were to truly like tap into your energy and your spirit team's energy, you will find out that that one entity that was trying to say like, I am your spirit guide, simply was not. Simply was there to confuse you. That happens. And that's why it's always important when we do energy work that we learn what our energy feels like, that we know who our spirit team is, right? Those are the main foundations of spiritual work. You can't just skip onto working with deities when you don't even know what it feels like when a deity is there working with you, right? Otherwise, you're like, well, I called on them and nothing happened. Well, it's like, well, if you're only expecting your physical reality to change when you call upon these deities, you're only doing it to manipulate the physical world. You're not doing it to heal yourself. You're not doing it to help yourself or ascend your soul. It's actually just a deeper rooting into the physical world, which is descending in a way, right? Because the physical world is very dense energetically. It is very compact. The atoms are really like stuck together here. And so it's important to know when you're entering spirituality, what your energy feels like, what negative energy feels like, who your spirit team is, how to ward off negative energies. Those are the first 4 things that I had to learn when I first started spirituality. And today I think a lot of people kind of come into spirituality through tarot, either through like, I know like love readings are really popular. I've done a couple because that's what I've channeled. But when you're doing that, do you understand who you are tapping into? Do you know the person that you're tapping into? Is the energy resonant with you? Is it making sense to you? Right? I'm seeing a lot of people online asking readers to choose a pile for them. And the whole point of a pick a pile is for you to use your own intuition to choose for you. It's not up to the reader to choose for you. It's up to the reader to simply channel for you. But to choose for you, that choice is yours alone. And that choice is for you to cultivate. And by choosing the piles for you, it helps you build that intuition. And that's the key. You need to just keep building the intuition. It's like it's like homework. You just have to keep doing it until the muscle is really strong. Because otherwise, when you get kind of into deity work, when you get into really intense spiritual work, if you get confused by the energy, you are easily manipulated. That's just the facts. If you don't know your own energy versus other energy, you will be manipulated. And that's why a lot of fear mongering happens with tarot, because everyone enters tarot and everyone's like, oh, this is great, this is fun, this is but then what happens? They use it to dive into other people. They use it to dive into topics that don't require a lot of intuition, right? With love readings, of course we want to be loved. Of course we want to think that there's somebody out there that's for us and all that. And in most cases that is true. But the thing is, like, there's more to spiritual work than just that. And it's really, really important to get those 4 pillars down. Okay. And I'll say them again. Work on your intuition. You need to learn what your intuition is versus just things other people are saying. You need to learn what your energy feels like versus other people that are not your energy. So that takes you to actually be with yourself, to feel that energy, to feel your own presence, to hear your own frequency, right? Above everybody else's. This is before even working with your spirit guides. This is just you working with your own energy. That's a very divine process. And then the next step is to learn who your spirit guides are. Of course, they will change every now and then. When there's always different spirit guides for different chapters of your life. But it requires you to build a relationship with them. And this is important. Why? I'll tell you why. Because I've had an experience where I allowed a deity in that wasn't my spirit guide. And it was actually a jinn. Just like another spirit, another entity. And of course, this jinn was not negative, because a jinn doesn't always imply negativity. It's just a spirit, right? It's what we put on it that makes it good or bad. So I interacted with a spirit called Arachne, and in Greek mythology, she was humbled by Athena for kind of like thinking she was better than everybody and everything and every deity, right? And so she got humbled by Athena and got turned into a spider, and her whole lineage got turned into a spider, and that's why she's called Arachne, and that's where arachnids come from. And so she came into my energy and she told me I was going to die. Okay, and at this point, I might have to censor that word. But point is, that was not my spirit guide. That was just an entity. But when she said that she was here to guide me, I already knew that was BS. Why? Because no spirit guide comes in the way she does. Okay. There will be like definite signs when you get to know your own spirit team and you tell them how you prefer to be communicated with and how you prefer to communicate with them. If it is out of that, most of the times they are not your spirit guides. Most of the times they're there to confuse you or to manipulate your energy. And Arachne came into my life telling me that I was going to, and that I should just go off into the world and discover life for what it is. But at the time, it was a time where I felt like I really needed to root myself in life, where I needed to find stability and grounding in life, because I was going through something extremely volatile emotionally at that time. And so Arachne came in telling me that I should make my physical reality just as volatile as my emotional state. And that is a recipe for absolute disaster. Right? So it's important for you to understand who you're working with, what deities you're working with, what is acceptable versus what is not. Boundaries. Okay, you need to have boundaries, not only with people in reality, but with spirits. Because they can come in and they can, just like humans, right? They have their own free will. They have their own thing going on. You are merely interacting with them. So it's really important to have discernment and boundaries in place when you're dealing with entities, right? Do not call in entities. Do not call in deities unless you know what they stand for, what is required of you, and what it means to actually work with them. Right? There is a type of respect and sovereignty that is lost in the community right now. And a lot of people think it's very easy. It's very like, oh yeah, you could just talk to Athena at your whim. It's fine. Go ahead. You can use their names and you can do all this and that. But if you're using it for the wrong reasons, I'm not going to say what could happen, but most of the times it's not a positive thing. Because every deity requires you to show up in a certain way. Like if you're working with Lilith, you must be authentic. You must have met your rage. Because she's going to excite that rage out of you. And if you don't enjoy being in your rage and you call upon Lilith, then she will bring that out of you. And it might be the most uncomfortable, most vulnerable thing you've ever experienced. And of course, she has a heart, and so she's not gonna like put you through a lot, but you're gonna feel that fire. You're gonna feel that like energy come up. And it might feel really uncomfortable if you don't know what you're dealing with, right? So that's kind of what I'm saying. It's just like, have that respect for the deities that you're working with. Have respect for yourself in these instances. Keep your boundaries up. Keep your discipline. Keep your discernment up as well. Do not drop your discernment just because you're in the spiritual realm. You are protected, but you are also required to kind of use your own intuition here. You can't just be jumping into whatever and then expecting spirit to catch you. Right? Because sometimes you kind of dig yourself into a hole that spirit's like, well, that's what they chose. I can't work against that if that's what they chose. So, yeah. That was like a huge tangent. But I feel like that's also just really important as a reminder. When we are doing spiritual work, there's actual spirits behind this. Okay? It's not just, it is energy work. But when you're calling upon deities, when you're calling upon angels, when you're calling upon any form of entity that embodies a certain energy, right? It requires something of you. And some just want an altar. Some just want recognition. And some just want respect and sovereignty in that connection. And maybe right now you've called upon a spirit, but you have not yet learned how to show them that respect, right? Because every person sees respect in a different way. And maybe you're just kind of brushing off things that you have asked for. Maybe you asked for clarity and it came and it wasn't the clarity that you wanted. And so you brushed it off. And they're here to tell you, it's like, hey, you called upon us. You wanted the information. We gave it to you. Don't say we're lying, and don't say that you don't know what you're doing, because you are connected. You are hearing the truth. It's just something that is really difficult to accept, and that's okay too. You can acknowledge that it's just really difficult for you to accept right now, and that it's causing you to have this type of reaction. But don't push it away just because it's not something you want to hear, right? Because most of the time, you know, us as humans, we kind of live in our own bubble, and we kind of want to live the way we want to live. And that's fair. That's how I am. But if we are working with entities, when we're working with deities, like, it doesn't have to be like negative deities either. If you're working with Aphrodite, she loves beauty. She loves beauty, even the small beauties in life. And so I always try to, like, give her that respect by keeping my space beautiful, right? Like, I keep a lot of flowers around. Even if they're not real, they add beauty, they add color to space. And so, and I'm always trying to cultivate that energy of beauty and love, and because she's also like the goddess of war. Love and war, right? It all goes together. And so it's important to like understand who you're working with, right? That's just another thing. It's like, yes, she's like the goddess of beauty and love, but she's also the goddess of war. So that's something to keep in mind, all right? With the Ace of Pentacles in reverse, it's with the under the Eight of Swords. It's showing me that, you know, once you get out of this energy of feeling like you're not able to see things clearly, I think Spirit definitely came in and told you a truth. And it might be something that you just don't want to accept, but it's really important to like acknowledge that it's hard to accept, but like doesn't mean that it's not the truth, right? It's important to come at these things in a non-biased way, because ultimately we don't know what is good for us and what is not. We don't know what's at the end of the road. But Spirit knows. Spirit knows, like, the consequences of your actions. Maybe you don't, but they can see it laid out for you. And so, when you come out of this energy of blindfoldedness, self-blindfoldedness, you will come to see that the answer had been there all along. And that it didn't require you to receive anything else from Spirit. It just required acceptance. It just required you to really understand that, okay, yes, this is the clarity. I don't like it, but it is what it is. Right? And the Five of Swords in reverse. Yeah. Don't fight it. Don't fight it anymore. Like earlier I said with Temperance, go with the flow. Just because you hear something you don't like doesn't mean that you're not connected to Spirit. Doesn't mean that things aren't going your way. It doesn't mean that you're not a great manifester. What it means is that you're being redirected by Spirit because that one thing was just not for you. And that's okay. It might hurt right now, and it's important for you to acknowledge that it hurts. You may be disappointed, and it's important for you to acknowledge for yourself that you're disappointed. But that doesn't mean that you're going to be sacrificing the rest of your life because this one thing didn't occur. It doesn't mean that you're going to throw away everything just because this one thing didn't happen the way you wanted it to, right? And so it's just bringing it all back in, reminding you of your spiritual practices, reminding you of angelic spiritual beings that are actually around you that require that kind of reciprocation, respect, and know that you are being led. Because maybe you're just like, you know, kind of mad at the world, so you're just saying a lot of things, and it's not, we're human, it's gonna happen. They don't take offense to it. They just want you to remember that that they are there, and not in a scary way, but like they're there to help you and guide you back to your footing if you're willing. right? It's like when something really horrible happens in someone's life, and then they're like, okay, I'll give this God thing a shot, and then they like pray to God for like everything to work out for them, because they just believe that if they like open themselves up once, that it will happen. But and then, you know, it might not happen for them, and then they get all pissed off and they're like, see, God isn't real. How could God be real if this is happening? And it's like, well, you only opened up to him to ask for something. Where's the reciprocation? You need to build a relationship here. You can't just be asking for stuff and then not even acknowledging their existence. Because then who are you asking? You know, it's that kind of energy. And that's just an example. That probably has nothing to do with your circumstance maybe at all, but that's just an example of a reach for divine help through a much more readily acceptable process, right? And so let's get into your angelic realms cards and see what angels have for you. They really want you to remind you that they're there. Now, you don't need to be afraid at all. That if you feel like you lack clarity, you don't. You don't. Maybe work with acceptance. Maybe work with work with acceptance. Learn how to accept things for what they are and not try to change them. Don't try to manipulate situations into something more favorable for you. This is time to find acceptance within yourself for what has occurred. And it's not for anyone else but for you. Because you are going to move forward. You are going to feel better. You are going to have a life after this. And it will go on. And eventually this feeling will subside. And it will. And they're just trying to remind you, like, you're not alone. You really aren't. And right now may feel like a really lonely time for you. And it may feel like everything's just going absolutely wrong. You may feel like someone's cursed you or someone's out to get you. But it's really important to stay in your own energy at this time. Even if you feel like there are entities or energies working against you, block them out. No one is allowed to come in right now. Your energy is yours alone at this moment. Put a shield around it. Do not allow others to play and poke and prick at your energy or just try to siphon your energy. Right now, you're going to protect your energy. You're going to make sure that you and you alone are good. And then after that, you might consider other people. But right now, you are the priority. You are the top priority right now, collective. And it's really important that you can recognize that within yourself. And that's part of the acceptance, okay? The acceptance is that you're in a place where you need that help. You need that divine assistance. Things aren't going your way, and that's okay, but the divine is still here to help you. It didn't go your way because later down the line, that will help you, right? All right, so let's move into our oracle cards. Feather energy, signs are all around me. And Archangel Jophiel, I am beautiful and creative. Okay, so the numbers 2 and 15 popped out. Maybe that's important to you. Maybe February is important to you, or the 15th is important to you in some way. With feather energy, signs are all around me. Spirit is sending you signs constantly. And signs can include repeating numbers, repeating words, certain people popping up in your life, and maybe you're waking up with just knowledge. I that happened to me this morning. And so maybe you're waking up with just really high intuitive cues that are just like, okay, they definitely spoke to me. Okay, this is definitely a sign from spirit. Feathers are really important. Okay, you're going to be seeing feathers. You're going to be seeing birds. Maybe a bird really caught your attention recently. And that bird has meaning to it. That type of bird, if you can remember what it looked like, if you can find out what it was, it has extreme spiritual meaning to it. And that might be important for you at this time. Okay. And then moving on to the other card that you got with Archangel Jophiel. I am beautiful and creative. Yeah, Spirit wants you to remember that you are an incredibly beautiful person. That it doesn't really matter what you've done in this life, you are still a beautiful person. And because it's your soul essence, right? We all have our darker sides that we could lean into, and we all have our lighter sides that we could lean into. It's really up to you. But either way, this is why confessions are open to everybody. And that's because we're all given a chance at experiencing both sides of ourselves, the light and the dark. Maybe in your life you've been in the dark energy for most of it, and you've exuded that because that's just where you were, right? And so now Spirit is saying that you don't need to hold yourself as a bad person. You don't need to see yourself that way. You need to, if you really want forgiveness, you need to forgive yourself first, because we're all very there's a dichotomy in all of us. There is light and dark in all of us. That's what angels and demons represent, right? Like the light aspects and the dark aspects of us. And whichever controls us at the time is just because it's stronger. That's what we're leaning into. That's what our mental is more geared towards. And so if you don't feel like you necessarily deserve to have a happy life moving forward, maybe this thing that didn't work out is something that like came because maybe you made a mistake. You're human. Maybe you made a mistake and you feel like there's no redemption from that. There's just nothing I can do. I'm just going to be a bad person forever. Look at what I did. It's like, well, take accountability for what you've done, but don't hold it as your personality for the rest of your life. Because you are a very dynamic individual, as all of us are. We are all capable of reaching into the dark, and we are all capable of reaching into the light. Okay, it's not that one person is one way or another. It's not a black and white kind of situation. It is a grayscale kind of situation. So everything's kind of in the gray zone. That's what I'm seeing. And it's really important to see that for yourself too. That you are not just like a black or white person. You're just you're a grayscale. There are things that are kind of like they blur into each other. Because life is not meant to be compartmentalized so heavily, right? It's not meant to be separated. It's all meant to come together to make sense of everything, right? We need to consider everything. And so right now, I think your soul is trying to consider the lighter aspects of life. And maybe you don't feel like you necessarily deserve it, or you might feel like a fraud. You may feel like you don't deserve to be in this space or like community because of what you've done, what you've gone through, and like how you've reacted and all that stuff. But spirituality is not about like whoever is holier than thou. Like, it's about acceptance. It's about understanding the abstract of life, not the concrete. Everyone can see the concrete for what it is, but it's the abstract that spirituality really loves to be in. It's that nuance, right? I'll have you know that like a lot of people don't really think that I should be spiritual, that I should be in this light energy because of what I've done in the past. But I've had to forgive myself first without looking for their forgiveness, right? And so maybe people are withholding their forgiveness from you, and you feel like you just can't move forward unless you gain this forgiveness. But forgiveness is for you. It's never for another person. And I've had to experience that for myself where, I made a mistake and then I was crucified for it. And I had to acknowledge where I made the mistake and what my thought pattern was and why it led me to believing that what I did was justified in that moment. But at the end of it, I was able to kind of understand the nuances of myself and understand that I am just a human being. I am allowed to make mistakes, and sometimes it's going to hurt other people, because, we kind of all do. We kind of hurt each other because even if you try to come off perfect and that you would never hurt another soul, it's like you're bound to. It's going to happen because you're not them and you don't know their sensitivities fully. And sometimes you're just going to make mistakes, and it's not to just like bury yourself with all the mistakes you've made. It's not to like constantly put it on you like a list of things that you've done wrong in your life. It's about coming out of it and realizing like, okay, I see the thought pattern as when I was making that decision. I can see why I acted in that way. It wasn't correct, but I can see why I did it at the time. And I can acknowledge that I can do better in the future. And that's really what it's all about. That's literally what it's all about. It's not about deeming you as an evil person or a good person. It's not about becoming holier than thou. It's not about competing for a spot. It's not like that. It's not like that. It's about you just releasing all of the damage that had occurred. Of course, we're going to integrate it. We're going to see it for what it is. We're going to have to come to acceptance. But it's for you to really understand that you are a forgivable person. And when you forgive yourself first, when you forgive yourself for what had occurred in the past, it will open you up to a future where you do feel worthy and you do feel deserving. There's things that I still feel like I don't deserve and that I don't feel worthy of based on past things that I've done. But I'm still working through it, and I'm finding that that I am worthy. Like I go through waves where I'm like, no, I'm not worthy of that. And then there's other times where I'm like, yes, give it to me. I can handle this. But yeah, there's just like a level of like forgiveness that maybe you need to have for yourself, right? And maybe it was just you not knowing any better. Maybe you know right now, and that's why you're going to be able to do better. But back then, you just weren't given the information. People around you didn't have the information either. So who's going to teach you? If everyone's operating in one way, who's going to teach you to operate in another way? No one. It's that separation and you diving into new knowledge that allows you to actually come up with a new way to react, a new way to behave, a new system to really like adopt and understand, maybe, one that works for you a bit better. Because this life is about you cultivating something for yourself. It's not about you fitting in with other people. It's not about you surpassing other people. It's not about competition. It's about you living your best life. And that looks different for everybody. You living your best life, other people probably picture something different when they hear that. And so realize that, this life is not about competing with each other. It's about you just aligning with where you're going, where you're meant to go. And everyone's meant to go in different directions. And we're not all meant for the same spot. We're all destined for our own spot. And so if you feel that energy of competition, realize that that's their path. And it's beautiful. And I find it beautiful. And maybe that's in the path for me too. But my path is mine alone and their path is theirs. And if alignment were to occur, that'd be beautiful, right? But if alignment weren't to occur, then it just means that it wasn't meant to. And that's a much more peaceful way to think about things if you're going through something right now that's just really hard to accept. And I'm so sorry that, like something so difficult occurred in your life, that finding acceptance for it is really difficult right now. And, I'm just wishing you guys healing. I'm wishing you guys benevolence. I'm wishing you guys compassion for yourself. I wish you guys just alignment with your own energy and just like a better future for you, better days for you. And yeah, I'm going to leave that here, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the message. If you guys liked it, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to the channel if you like the way I read. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.